Thanks to all the subscribers. Please like, subscribe, and comment. We're almost to 1,000, and we really appreciate it. With that out of the way, let's get into it. The highest-ranking female member of Norfolk's Virginia Mad Stone BLOODS was shot to death just hours after getting out of the gang. While out for a morning run, a jogger made a gruesome discovery. It was the body of 25-year-old Tiosha Mitchell. The body was riddled with bullets on the side of Old Williamsburg Road. Mitchell was shot 8 times, and 14 shell casings with an S&B head stamp were left behind on the road near where her lifeless body lay. Later, the medical examiner found gunshot wounds to the head, abdomen, back, buttocks, and legs. Tiosha Mitchell, 25, of Richmond, Virginia, wanted to get out of the gang life. The 25-year-old was reportedly the highest-ranking female in the Norfolk gang. In order for her to be allowed to exit the gang, she had to submit to being savagely jumped by 3 women for more than 30 seconds. It's unclear why Mitchell wanted out of the Mad Stone BLOODS, but her decision would be a fatal one. In the early morning hours of May 6, 2023, the first beating would occur. 4 gang members traveled to Mitchell's Richmond apartment, and the pummeling commenced. The beating was so brutal that at one point during the thrashing, Mitchell dropped to the ground and curled into the fetal position before a man stood her up so that the battery could continue. Seemingly satisfied with the attack, the group left the apartment. Mitchell was seriously hurt, but somehow she was able to survive the first beating. But the events of that night would take a darker turn. After the beat-out, Mitchell contacted a man that she knew and asked him to come to her apartment. An hour later, while recovering with her companion, a trio of women, along with a masked man and another with a gun, showed up at her door for more violence. Mitchell was attacked for the second time, already injured from the first assault. This attack was motivated by jealousy about Mitchell's relationship with one of the women's intimate partners. The man who was with Mitchell said the wild hooligans pointed him out, and he was afraid he'd also be attacked. So he jumped out of a window and ran. He came back to the apartment a few minutes later and called 911. He told Richmond police that Mitchell was taken. After beating her, Mitchell was forced out of her apartment and thrown into an awaiting black Hyundai Sonata. About an hour later, at 3:47 a.m., neighbors reported hearing gunshots near where Mitchell's body would later be found on May 6, 2023. Police used surveillance video and phone records to track the Hyundai and the alleged gang members from Mitchell's Richmond apartment to York County, about half a mile from where the woman was shot. Norfolk police pulled the sedan over in the early morning hours of May 7th and found 3 women inside the car, including Jackson and Langley. Police searched the sedan and found several cell phones, a black mask, and a bullet for the same make and model as the shell casings located at the crime scene. Phone records showed several of the gang members were near Mitchell's apartment during the abduction and in York County during the shooting. Phone records also showed the gang members communicating with Mitchell before she died and with each other after the shooting. Investigators searched Mitchell's phone and determined she had significant gang ties and was the highest-ranking female gang member within the group. Carney, one of the people accused in her death, is allegedly the leader of the gang. Hezekiah Carney, 25, of Norfolk Jamaica Langley, 25, of Richmond Donisha Goodman, 27, of Portsmouth, and Acacia Jackson, 19, of New York, pled guilty to federal charges relating to an abduction of the victim and her ultimate murder in York County. Carney, Goodman, and Jones pled guilty to using a firearm causing death. Under the terms of their plea agreements, each faces a minimum of 35 years in prison and up to 45 years in prison. Carney and Jones are scheduled to be sentenced on January 9th, 2025. Goodman is scheduled to be sentenced on January 7th, 2025. Jackson and Langley pled guilty to conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and each faces up to life in prison. Jackson is scheduled to be sentenced on October 31st. Langley is scheduled to be sentenced on November 7th. Although there are convictions in this matter, I must stress that an indictment is not evidence of guilt. Charges are only allegations, and each defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Blessings, Luke 17, verses 3-4. If your brother sins, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him.